Marvelous hands. Hands. Hey, did you know that hands are the new frontier? We have aesthetics of the face and neck, but hands are all in vogue, and they have been in vogue for a while. I love talking to patients about, hey, what can we do to help your hands look better? And first off, you gotta protect them. So washing with soap and water constantly, they're visibly soiled, that's one thing, and you have to do that. But if you do it constantly, it can make them more dry, more rough, like skin, even sores are more porous, basically. You can get more stuff in your hands. And thus, using waterless hand sanitizer can help. In our mind, we're like, no way, that little bit of alcohol will make the hands worse. And actually, the wet to dry, wet to dry, wet to dry often makes them worse than say a Purell or Germex or any of these waterless hand sanitizers. That's why in the hospital, primarily they're not washing their hands as much. And again, in the hospital, they're doing the very best thing for patients to not have germs on their hands or to get infections in your skin. And so they are using waterless hand sanitizers. They're using Avogard, they're using stuff similar to Purell and Germex. So along with washing, what can you use on your hands? There's hand lotions. Most of the time I tell patients just use a body lotion. They're cheap-ish and they're plentiful, and that can basically restore and help hydrate, and they're more comfortable. They're not as itchy, they're not as rough, they're not as scratchy. And so just using one of dozens and dozens of products is a brilliant way to help them out. So that's number one. Let's make them so that they're softer, and you can do that by using moisturizer and not having to hammer them as much with water unless they're visibly soiled, and that's different. And if you do have to wash them a lot for jobs or whatever, you see you're cooking chicken or you're, changing kitty litter, certainly yes, wash them with soap and water. You can, I tell people, if they could do it even once a day, put a little bit of lotion on the back of their hands. That can trap in the moisture and can help them so they don't get so raw and cracked and dry and rough. Number two, sunspots. So what can we do for sunspots? That's really protecting them from the sun, and you can do that with sunscreen. You can do it with like long shirts. You can do it by not allowing them to get burnt or chronic sun. Even people use gloves. Like when I go fishing, I have these sun gloves, and occasionally people even do that when they're driving, which is a great idea if you don't want them to be chronically damaged by the sun. The sun can thin the skin, it can break down collagen, and it can cause the brown marks and eventually even precancers, which are called actinic keratosis, on the backs of your hands and arms. So that's number two. Number three, genetically, some people just have more bony hands, and you can see the bones and you can see the veins. And so you can use a filler in these patients. I've been doing filler in hands for over a decade. Radius was the first approved product. It's a quick procedure. I've filmed videos of this before, and it's amazing. You use a cannula, which is kind of a blunt instrument, to inject this filler substance, which is part filler and part collagen stimulator. I guess the only other thing is occasionally people want to use over the counter. Occasionally people want to do prescription products to help lighten the pigment on their hands, and you can do it. There are things with retinol like vitamin A that can help lighten the spots on the hands. Very rarely you can do even laser for the back of the hands. Most of the time that's reserved for like neck and face, be it laser or chemical peel or whatnot. But creams, lotions, those things are great. And it would be a rare time that I'm ever like, don't use that cream, or don't use that lotion, or don't use that emollient, or whatever. Any of these oils, creams, natural, synthetic, all of these can help protect your skin barrier on the back of your hands, especially the back of your hands. So, there's different skin. This is volar skin, this is non-volar skin, and this is more susceptible from damage from primarily wet work. Let's get some good looking hands out there, protecting them, hydrating them.